Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is your dystopian news. We're going to start with a little bit of thought control, and by the time we're end, we're all going to be under house arrest, people. It's coming. Are you ready? Well, if you don't want them to see where you are, if you want them to think that you're somewhere else, consider using private internet access if you are a person who needs a VPN for a variety of different reasons. You can use my affiliate link there, tlm.li/PIA, and connect up to 10 devices on a VPN for $40 a year. Excellent service, excellent price. All right, let's go ahead and dive on into the dystopian news of the day. So welcome to Dystopia. And first, that's right, I needed to be right down where I was. So this is an update to Twitter's policy. Updating to Twitter's policy regarding the Boogeyman Bug. So, broadening our guidance on unverified claims. Going forward, and specific to the Boogeyman Bug, unverified claims that have the potential to incite people to action could lead to the destruction or damage of critical infrastructure or cause widespread panic and social unrest may be considered a violation of our policies. Example can include the National Guard just announced that no more shipments of food will be arriving for 2 months. Run to the grocery store ASAP to buy everything. Or 5G causes the Boogeyman Bug. Go destroy all the cell towers in your neighborhood. Oh boy. Yeah, I think Twitter's a lost cause at this point in time. I think it is, isn't it? Isn't Twitter a lost cause at this point in time? But here's the challenge is that at what point in time do we say, Twitter, if I go back and find nearly every politician who quoted back what the World Health Organization said in January that the Boogeyman Bug does not pass from human to human, do we need to ban all those politicians? Interesting question, because they said that back in January. Just an FYI. And so the problem with this, of course, is that information being out there leads to discourse, and discourse leads to finally finding truth, because truth isn't what one individual top-down political organization talks about. Truth is in and of itself at an ultimately fundamental level. I only agree and there's one truth, and that's that there's a God, a specific one. But that being said, everything else, like science doesn't produce facts, okay? Like people say all the time, science is proven. Science hasn't proven nothing. Science can't prove anything. Science demonstrates certain things under certain circumstances, all right? And the problem is that science is also always ebbing and flowing, and we have to have the ability to throw things out. Now, what was the weird connection between 5G towers and the Boogeyman Bug? Well, that came from people actually looking at some research journals and looking at some things, and I still personally have not read those articles to see if there was merit in the claims, but at least saying, hey, here's a possible thing to think about, might be something to consider. And maybe we would be better off as a society if we are free to at least have the public discourse where the public discourse can be. And I know, but they're a private company, they can do what they want. Well, maybe, but that argument starts to lose itself when there is no way to communicate except on these online platforms, since everybody is forced to be inside anyway. So that's interesting. Facebook, of course, wants in on the action. I don't know why my browser keeps on trying to auto-load everything. All right, so Facebook is mapping the Boogeyman Bug symptoms on a county-by-county basis, further visualizing the hyped-up hysteria of the Boogeyman. And frankly, I think that if anybody needs to be kicked off of Twitter and Facebook and the online course, it's the people who are spreading fear, uncertainty, doubt, and panic, causing people to go, oh my God, we're all going to die! I got a chance to look very briefly at the JAMA article. That is the Journal of the American Medical Association article looking at the numbers in New York. It's interesting. I'll do a video on it later. But anyway, this is map from Facebook's data. Now, what Facebook is doing is they're pushing out a survey from Carnegie Mellon. Now, they're saying that only Carnegie Mellon receives the information given in that survey, but the aggregate anonymized data is given to Facebook. And we all completely believe Mark Zuckerberg when he said that, because it sounds very close to things that were going on like Cambridge Analytica and stuff like that. So, but anyway, Facebook is producing these similar maps as well. So you can kind of see what's going on a county-by-county basis and see where the boogeyman is yet to strike next and get everyone all, we're all gonna die! Because that's what the news media wants us to be. They want us to feel afraid. All right, so on our next article, the Boogeyman Bug means that truckers need face mask-aware driving monitoring systems. Okay, I got news for you. Here's a couple things. If you're driving a truck and you're a solo driver, y'all don't need to be wearing a mask. Now, one of our guys like, well, what if you're a delivery guy, like a UPS driver? A UPS driver does not need a system to monitor if he's being drowsy while he's driving. This is for long-term guys. And here's another fun fact for you. If you happen to be driving with 2 people in a cab, a mask ain't going to help you. So take off your mask when you're driving your car. And if you insist on wearing it in public, then go ahead and put it on when you're done. Is this not terrifying enough? Now, these are the driver assist programs for trucks, and they're getting all messed up because it can't read what's going on because people are wearing the face masks in the truck for some reason. By the way, increasing the risk of a few other issues and complications because you're not getting and breathing in fresh air. And if you're not getting in and breathing in fresh air, you get all sorts of weird little bugs start to develop in there. You got to get fresh air into your lungs. So I'm not saying never, 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 never. I'm just saying when you're driving alone in your truck, you don't need to be wearing a mask. If you're driving in a truck across country with someone else in there, a mask ain't going to help you. Y'all are going to get what y'all each other have, okay? That's kind of interesting, but now they're kind of working on this of buying and borrowing some of the technology, of course, from China that has now figured out how to track people and all sorts of tactics while people are wearing masks. So, you know, whatever that is. All right, this is a good one here. How would you like you go into the hospital? You're in there for the Boogeyman Bug, and in walks the dog, right? With this dude's head on the front. What is this? Is this a centaur? I think we have a centaur. This is not a Boston Dynamics dog-like robot. This is a Boston Dynamics centaur, people. And so you got this human head over here chatting with you through the iPad, I guess, type thing. Maybe if they get really good with this thing, they can just equip these things with weapons, and the dog will be like, "You are infected, prepare to die. You are infected, prepare to die." And then, you know, it's going to unload an arsenal of stuff and, you know, have that super ultra UV coming on all into you, wipe you all out. I mean, that'd be exciting. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. So, you know, you get in here, he walks on in, the centaur comes into the room, and you have a discourse with the centaur MD. And he does whatever he's going to do because, you know, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. That's kind of interesting. All right. So France, now we're getting into the point where the governments are now starting to ask the companies for things. So now France asks Apple to lift the Bluetooth limits to further its Boogeyman Bug tracker. So Apple has a security feature in the phones that unless the app is in the front is in the focus, the Bluetooth system won't work, and this is interfering with France's dystopian contact tracing application that people, I believe, are forced to have on their phone at this point in time, I think. And so it's causing a problem for the eye users. The eye sheep will go, and it's like, you know, but at least they're secure and they're private. But now France is asking Apple to lift the Bluetooth limit so that the contact tracing app can work even when the app is not in the focus. Very interesting. So this, of course, comes on the heels of Apple and Google working together and all these other types of fun things. So now the government is now asking for help there. But then the United States, though, is asking Peter Thiel, a.k.a. the devil himself, I'm pretty sure, or at least not the devil, his right-hand man, and the Palantir group. So remember, the Palantir group is like the massive data collection thing that I believe was actually ruled unconstitutional at some point in time. And so now the Trump administration is apparently talking to Peter Thiel about utilizing Palantir to help build a Boogeyman Bug tracking tool. It's called HHS Protect Now. I thought it was a little interesting that Palantir actually signed into a deal with the government in January for some $1 million. It's either $3 or $12 million. I looked into that one. It has to do with, it was a very interesting one because it had to do with tracking AIDS. I didn't really think that necessarily needed a lot of tracking, except maybe in California where they defelonized knowingly and willingly transmitting HIV to somebody unannounced. Yeah, you guys over in California, go figure that one out. It used to be a felony to knowingly transmit HIV to somebody. Now it's not a felony because it's like we can't have discrimination against people with AIDS. But you're going to force me to wear a mask. But you're going to defelonize. Check, please. I'm out of the human race. I got my trip to the spaceship anyway, so I'm all good. But how does it feel to know that Peter Thiel and Palantir are Palantir? I keep on saying Planetar. It's Palantir. Are going to be potentially teaming up here to track all of these people with the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman is coming, people. The Boogeyman is coming. All right, I do have an update from somebody in France. He says that the apps are not forced, but, quote, heavily encouraged. Thank you for that update, 13 Tom. All right, drones. This is in the United States now. Yay! The drones that can detect the Boogeyman bug are being tested in the United States. They also ensure people are socially distancing. Coughing, body temperature. Body temperature's too high. You're coughing. Prepare to die. Prepare to die. Prepare to die. You know, stun missiles are coming out of the drone. So drones can detect people. Now this is funny because these are all like donated from China. Check, please. All right. So the drone maker Dragonfly, which has been working on the drone tech that specializes in onboard thermal sensors and smart computer vision. By the way, these cameras may not actually work very well. It kind of depends. So the hospital where my mother works, for a while, they were like, they had this extra person there taking everybody's temperature every time they come into the unit. Literally. She said she had to have her temperature checked, I think like 15 or 20 times in a shift. She literally left the unit to take an oxygen tank down to a car for a patient who was leaving, comes back up, and has to get her temperature checked again. Somebody did not think this policy over. But the thermometers were not even working. And it was these thermal temperatures. They come by, scan. So she goes and gets coffee. And takes the coffee and holds it to her forehead for a minute before walking in. Takes the coffee down, and they scan her. It's still under temp. And she says, I just had this coffee up here. My forehead's really hot. The lady taking the temperatures actually says, well, these thermostats don't work anyway. Oh, God. We're all doomed. We're all doomed. Guys, if you want to know why I'm not taking this seriously, this is why. Oh, boy. Anyway, so the drones can take your temperature, and they say heart and respiratory rates from a distance of 150 feet, even able to detect sneezing and coughing in crowds, and can measure social distancing between individuals. Drones will be used in Australia and are now being tested in U.S. Digital Trends reports in the Westport Police Department in Connecticut, which has seen over 17,000 cases of the Boogeyman show up directly. So here's some information. Breathing rate is 15, heart rate is 80, standing 38 degrees C. Very interesting. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming for us, people. The drones are coming. They're going to be deployed. You stand still. You may have the Boogeyman bug. You may have the Boogeyman bug. Stand still. Stand still. Everybody clear away. Everybody clear away. Launching. Initiation. Attack. 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 All right, guys. This is getting creepy. We need to all right. All right. Over there in India... India wants to build an ultra-intrusive wristband that blocks an ultra-invasive wristband to track the Boogeyman bug patient's every move. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. So This is basically like a tracker. Oh, look at this. Look at the little picture there. Can you guys see the little picture of that thing? It's the Boogeyman Bug. It's a little Fitbit looking thing with a Boogeyman Bug on it. That's awesome, right? So I guess it'll pulsate up if it's big. Prepare to die. You're leaving your zone. Prepare to die. And I'm telling you. So this thing here, it's basically like it'll do the thermal stuff, it'll do the biometric stuff, it'll send the data out, and it'll also do basically like a house arrest monitoring thing. If you leave within a certain range, so they're all coming, guys. So I think the last time, I've been getting more progressively, man, this guy's too conspiracy theory. I turned in for Linux, I got conspiracy theories. People, these are not conspiracy theories. These are things that are actually going on because of this nonsense. And we're letting it happen. We need to stop letting it happen. Be a little safe. That's about the best you can do, okay? So that is our dystopian news for the day. It's getting crazy out there, folks. It's getting crazy out there. Let me know your thoughts. And maybe should I be wearing my tinfoil hat on these in the comments down below.